Howdy. Just checking out my commentators online before we start.
Hello.
Hey guys, so for those that don't know me, I'm the Roth, and my commentator is myself086, who's been a bit of a beast with basically destroying FF4 as much as possible. So this run will show off some of those, some of the new discoveries that have happened kind of within the last 6 to 9 months. So yeah, enjoy the run, it should be good. Alright, I'll start right now, so let's do this. So hopefully we should be started.
So the first thing before
starting
the run, there's a manipulation to get no encounter before the first boss, and we call it guaranteed seed 92. It's a setup that guarantees you get no encounter until the first boss. It's something I contributed to. Before that, you had to frame perfectly, press A, and hope to get that seed.
Yeah, it was a fun process. You basically had to wait about 8.5 minutes into the game before realizing if you get encounters or not. So this game, basically, you've got the big bad king. He's wanting to collect all the crystals in the world for power or something. You don't really know why he's collecting the crystals. And then you've got this conflicted Dark Knight, Cecil, who's starting to question his decisions about what the king's doing. So he starts having issues. But there's a lot that goes on in the in the first 10 minutes of the game. We basically set up everything that we need to do to be able to buy whatever items we need to, and also to set up for a boss later on, about an hour and 20 minutes into the run. So we all set it up as early as possible. During the first boss fight, myself will talk about those things, because I tend to do a lot and I can't explain it all at once.
There's a lot going on in the first 10 minutes.
Absolutely. But it's a really interesting game. The history behind the game also, the run's really improved over the last couple of years. I mean, pretty much every single game has, but this has had its moments where it's grown in spurts. When I started playing this about 2 years ago, and back then the record was about 3.5 hours. And then just as I started watching, a new glitch was found, which basically broke the game. And a couple of runners started doing this route, namely Brosentia and No Cash No Cash. They were doing it in speedrun form. But in terms of Japanese runners, there was a guy named Cheap and Pirahiko, which really analysed how the glitch worked, and they worked on tool-assisted speedruns of the game. So basically, it took the game from about 3.5 hours down to 2 hours and 15 minutes-ish. And then from there, we managed to find improvements here and there, and then myself came along and dismantled the game even further, and pretty much dramatically reduced the time. Like now it's below 2 hours completion time, and even lower to sub 150 if you use another glitch, which I'll demonstrate the glitch after I complete the game using the route that I'm currently doing. Because there's a There's another way to complete the game, but it's unsafe at the moment.
Yeah, the new route that makes sub 150 possible is only 14 days old, so there are things to figure out.
Yeah. You thought it'd take you a month or two to be able to do what you did, and as
I
it
thought it
turned
would
out,
take me a month because I had another setup for it, but then one day I decided, hey, why not try this? And it gave me something else to work with, and I spent 17 hours in a row working on it.
nice. But it's so easy to do something like that. You start testing stuff, and then hours go by. Even something as simple as trying like a subtly different boss strat can then absorb a couple of hours really quickly.
Yeah, but this one I really wanted to go as far as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going to bed.
Fair enough. So for some reason, these little cutscenes never get old. Well, they haven't gotten old yet.
Have you taken your extra step?
Yes. Yeah, so in Baron, normally after I collect the tent, the tent will become important right after I kill the first boss. I also take an extra step because it has to do with increasing the kind of step counter in the game that you're on. And the step count is important because you whenever you walk through the game, you're going to get encounters on specific steps, and that encounter pattern changes depending on when you press A on the title screen, and then it's fixed for the entire game. So we manipulate a specific encounter pattern at the start of the game, and then purposely misstep in Baron, and that'll basically guarantee us 0 encounters until we reach the next town. And it probably saves on average about 20 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds. So, because there's a guaranteed way to do that now, all the runners just virtually do that because it's a free kind of 20 to 25 second save that you can make. So there's a few things coming up. One, I'm going to be moving my inventory around during the battle. Myself will be able to explain it a lot better than I can when we're in the fight. But
I'll explain everything from the fight up to after the town of Mist.
Okay, sure. I'll play the game. Let's hope I did take that misstep now. Alright,
I did not see it. So,
yeah, I take it earlier than everyone else because otherwise I forget it. So I'm gonna pick up a carrot because I like carrots. It's normally useless in... I don't even know what it does. It might restore a little bit of energy. I'm not actually sure what it does.
That's you use the big chocobo for extra storage.
Oh, there we go. The things you learn.
Normally you only have 48 slots in your inventory, but the big chocobo gives you an extra 128.
Oh, nice.
So as you can see, there are no encounters here.
Yeah.
Because we manipulated the seed to give us the best cave possible, which is 0 encounters.
Effectively, yeah. Now we've got our first boss fight.
So this fight is this is actually an introduction to the game. This boss works in cycle, and once it turns into mist, you should not attack it because it will just fight back at you and waste time.
Yeah, it retaliates. I think it's the only boss in the game that kind of does it to an extent. Like it has a form like this where you can't attack it.
So here, Roth is going to dupe the item slot in the inventory by equipping an empty slot backward and then re-equipping doing the same equip back.
Jeez.
You trick the game into changing the quantity on the empty slot, and then by equipping something else on top of that, it adds to the quantity instead of changing the quantity. So you can abuse that to dupe items. And here, Ruff is using a tent to shift the map by 1 pixel to the left, and that allows saving over the town of Mist when shifting the map back to the right. That allows us to gain access to the shops inside Mist, which is supposed to happen 1 hour from now. So there are some very powerful items we get in there. One of them is the dancing dagger.
Dancing daggers are brutally powerful for pretty much the whole game. Because the damage on it is spell based and not based on your attack, so people like level 1 Rydia or level 99 Kane would do exactly the same damage to the same boss. So it gets heavily abused at the start of the game and then onwards as well. But it also
makes Edward way more useful than he was before this was found.
Yeah, absolutely. Edward was absolutely useless. To the point where he could even die in the water hag fight. Which is horrible. But the dancing dagger gives you accuracy, so that helps for at least the water hag fight later on in about 20 minutes time. But in Mist we also get access to the change rod and the tiara, which become important for Rydia, since the tiara gives her a lot of defense at the start of the game, and it also gives her, I think it boosts her wisdom stat. I think the wisdom stat's based on determines black magic damage. So I'm not sure if it helps for Rydia, like at least for this category. But the change rod really helps. It helps for Teller a lot. During the game I'm going to be menuing as much as possible during battles, just because inventory management shaves seconds, if not a minute, off of your time. So I'm basically just going to be equipping everything from the top left only. I don't have to go searching for items. How much hit points does Water Hag have? Ooh. It has lots.
I don't know the exact number. I heard it was 65,000 hit points.
Something like that.
But he dies in 3 hits. Are you gonna find your seed?
Nah, I'm good.
Alright.
Nah, I'm not gonna worry about step manipulation at all.
Can I explain step manipulation anyway?
Sure.
So, in the game are 256 possibilities of where you get encounters. 256 seeds that give you random encounters. They're not exactly random. We know where each encounter is based on what seed you get. So once you identify your seed, you can then take extra steps to avoid encounters.
Yeah, certain tiles have that benefit. Only specific ones though, from what I understand.
Yeah, only specific tiles. In castle, only the brown tiles count. In towns, only the Serpent Road counts because it's castle tiles.
Something that you might have seen me do in this fight inside the inn was attempt to run as I get my turn. In this game, as you guys may know, there's a active time battle system, or ATB. But whenever you attempt to run and you get the game to display a message, the ATB freezes. So you can abuse that, because inputting action takes time, and so it wastes ATB, but if you freeze it and then input your action, you'll conserve ATB as much as possible and therefore be able to get more hits in.
So there's a question about the 256 seeds. Do we memorize them? No, we have a spreadsheet that tells us where to take steps. So, for example, it may say 10th cave takes 6 steps, for example. And we know how to walk perfectly, so we just base the run on that and then take extra steps if needed.
Yeah.
And 4 steps take 1 second, whereas one encounter takes 6 seconds, something. So anywhere under 24 steps will save time, if you can save one encounter.
And that it becomes more important later on because your chance of getting surprise and back attacks increases a lot. So step manipulation during the later stages of the game becomes pretty important to save time.
Back at surprise attack are based on levels of your party versus the enemy's level. If your level is too low compared to theirs, you get way more back attacks.
Yeah. Like right now, I've got a higher chance of getting back attacks until Teller joins, because his level is 20, whereas at the moment I've got a level 10 character and a level 1 character.
Cecil is 11 at this
He's
point,
11.
so the average is 6 instead of 5.
Yeah. And now it's slightly higher, it's like, what, 10? 11?
It's like, yeah, 10. It's almost 11, you need one more to make it 11. Because the game rounds it down. It's supposed to be 10.6.
Yeah.
But it rounds it down to 10.
So you can, because you can use the tent glitch, saving glitch that I did at Mist earlier, to enter Mist from the right hand side, you could ask yourself, well, why bother going into the town at all, and just continue on through the game. Like, you're more than welcome to do that. However, you trigger the cutscene where Griddia joins in the inn and you continue through the game. I don't even know if you need to do that, but I think regardless of whether you do or not, Teller doesn't appear in the Octomum cave, so you don't get Teller, and you can continue on, kill Octomum, get to Dam Cyan, and you trigger the Spoony Bard cutscene. Then the game will just softlock. So this room's actually one of them where you can increase your step counter and avoid encounters, but I'm not going to worry about that.
Step route doesn't really matter that much for any percent. It's more of an impact for No 64, where you can also guarantee getting the grind fight about 2 hours in, 2 hours 40 or something.
Yeah, that's a really good part about step route. It's sometimes horrible having to save and reset and wasting minutes trying to find the grind fight, because you can have such a good run leading up to that point, and then like the RNG in the run supposedly is based off of your ability to get the grind fight, or your chances of getting it without any other knowledge. So it's helped a lot in making runs a lot more stable.
Yeah, I've contributed two manipulation on the grind fight. One of them is a better save and reset to find the grind fight. And of course, I worked on step route.
I will be using glitches, yes. Just a couple.
There have been glitches already.
There's already been about 17 glitches. Maybe not that many, but still.
Everything except the waterfall stuff, like.
Yeah. Yeah, you can somehow like glitch the sound out, and at certain points it'll soft lock your game for some reason. It's kind of bizarre. We've got a boss coming up called Octomum, and he's really fast at the start of the fight, and as he loses tentacles, he becomes slower and more manageable. So if you ever get stuck on this boss, just attack a bunch and then heal later, and Octomum will become a lot more manageable. But in this fight we hope that Rydia doesn't get hit. Without the tiara, Rydia can basically just get one shot every single time. But with the tiara, then Octomum will only do like between 1 and 18, instead of like 18 to 45. Ugh.
Here's the first use of Dancing Dagger.
Oh yes, the Dancing Daggers
You see,
brutal.
you see Rydia throwing daggers.
8-year-old girl.
That's our weapon of choice.
She is a summoner, or caller. You also see me casting Stop on Teller. That's because... oh, Cecil's on a roll. That's because Teller's Lit 1 actions are not only slow but ineffective, and it's just faster to not have his turns at all during the fight. So stopping him conserves ATB as well as make your damage rate higher. I don't normally cure Rydia at this stage either, but just for safety, it's a good idea too. Ugh. I'm gonna heal Rydia again. She just got hit for 18. Fun times. That's okay, we made it. So normally you go through this game and you're supposed to step on this tile, which then activates the Damn Sign bombing cutscene, but I get an encounter on that tile, so cool. I'll just show you something really cool. I'm actually going to save and reset just before that tile, but I do it in a way where it's similar to the misskip, and you can just walk over that tile, and Damn Cyan on the outside looks the same, but on the inside it looks bombed.
And the reason you can do this skip without a tent is because shifting the map up or left can be done instantaneously, but if you want to do right or down, you need to shift in the opposite direction with a tent first.
Get your spoonie bars ready!
I don't have spoony bar.
Ah! Oh, spoonie bard! Greenleaf loves this cutscene. Teller's normally really inaccurate too. He may have just hit 3 from 3. Nice. Ah, he missed the last one. The action in this game is pretty well spread out, thankfully. Like some games have like a 10-minute cutscene in there, and it can get, that point of the game can get quite arduous. However, this one's normally pretty good, like it'll just have a couple of minutes here and there, which is what I like about it. Like all the splits are at least different in their own way, and it makes it interesting to speedrun. Bloop, 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 bloop. It's not really much to say here. Edward's sad, and then Cecil punches him in the face and says, "Eat some concrete," and Edward's like, "Okay." That's pretty much what the cutscene is. Edward learning that he has to move on within 15 seconds of his, the love of his life dying before his eyes. It's a lot of parts of these games are pretty sad, but the earlier SNES games tend to brush them off pretty quickly. Alright, so the next part of our story is the Antlion Cave. We had to come here because Cecil's girlfriend, Rosa, she tried to follow him after Mist to try to get to Kaipo, and she crossed the desert, and now she has some kind of fever, which can only be cured with the sand ruby, which can be found here. So Edward knows about the sand ruby. I don't normally pick up that life, but I'll do it just for safety. Not so much for here, but before Mum Bomb, really, because you can get some pretty nasty back attacks and stuff which can one-shot your party members, and if they one-shot the wrong ones, then the game can turn ugly very quickly.
In this fight, you're not supposed to use any physical attack, because it will just retaliate.
Yeah.
So what we do, instead of using spells, Dancing Dagger counts as a spell, so we just throw Dancing Daggers. 3 or 4 won't do it. But without Dancing Dagger, this fight is much longer.
It's definitely a run killer. Back in the single segment days, this fight was a run killer. I think it's a bit safer now that we've discovered how to underflow Rydia's MP, so you can at least use spells a lot more, but yeah, this fight used to be really, really horrible. Back attacks by these guys generally kill Rydia on the way in, and Edward can get hit for probably 40. So it's not a very nice place to get bad encounters.
Speaking of back attacks, I'm I'm working on back attack manipulation, and I'm actually practicing in this cave off stream. Back attack manipulation is something I wanted to do for a long time, and it's finally showing some positive results.
It's basically insanity what myself 086 is doing.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool though.
The back attack RNG is based on so many variables, but it's based on so many variables. For example, the number of frames you see the world map outside will affect the back attack RNG. How many frames you take inside during the current room. So if you load a different room, it resets, but the frame counter on the world map doesn't reset. And also the steps NPCs take don't reset. So those two were an issue in manipulating back attacks. But by doing segmented back attack manipulation, where we kind of find what seed we're on, at the same time we manipulate how to change the RNG. Because if you walk frame perfectly from one encounter to the other, you always get the same difference in seeds. And you can change that seed by changing the character that's shown on the map, but you can also hold buttons to change the RNG. So by mixing those two, or just using one or another, you can drop the number of back attacks by about half. And if you really want to go in depth with it, it's possible to cut down about 3/4 of the back attacks. But I don't see anyone using 2 controllers, because yes, you can use 2 controllers for back attack manipulation. It doesn't save much, but it's possible.
Start using your feet to hold buttons down would be pretty impressive.
It's only for the D-pad, because you cannot do up and down at the same time.
Alright. Just imagine putting one controller on the floor and trying to press up on the D-pad with my big toe.
Good luck with that.
So I guess a similar example. But let's talk about the water hag fight. So normally you have Edward's harp. He's got like a dreamer harp in this fight, and normally it misses. So you have to like continually heal yourself. And the goal of the fight's to hit water hag 3 times, and then you get some message, and then water hag dies. But if you put Edward in the middle row and then equip him with the dancing dagger, his accuracy pretty much becomes 100%. I don't think I've ever seen him miss from the middle slot. And then the fight's trivial, but pretty much every speedrunner that's done FF4 has died to water hag. At least the ones that started probably about a year ago. But the strats before then used to involve Edward dying and you raging on stream. So in the Raven fight, for example, if you're generally fast enough, like right at the start of the game, before the opening credits, you fight the Raven. The Raven usually attacks you, unless for very limited cases. But sometimes if you hold B or Y before entering that battle, you can almost guarantee that Cecil will attack first. Actually, I'm going to save, just safety save, because Bum can go silly.
The Raven manipulation is the same kind of manipulation for back attack manipulation, except it's done at a time in the run where the RNG is constant. So it's only based on how fast you mash through the text box, and also you can hold buttons to change that RNG. I haven't looked into the Raven manipulation. It's only Near who came up with holding Y.
The tones of the commentators. Hopefully our voices are peaceful and relaxing. It's a good start to the day for most people. Alright, this fight. We're up to Yang. He's a karate man, he was training. And then he got rudely interrupted by imps and a bomb.
1433-18 is my guess.
Nice. Nah, you're way off, mate.
Nice. It's normally around that. If you don't mess up the hovercraft and you get no encounter on that screen, you most often get the 1436-18. Which is not a good roll because you get 4 turn Yang.
Nice. You might notice the sound is now... The sound is now gone funky. Would you like to explain that myself?
Oh yeah, the sound is... The music is quiet because we paused during the fade out, and since we did not unpause, the music still thinks that we're paused, so it's quiet.
Yeah, it's just when I get this kick off.
And it's also useful for this run to pause.
So the way this fight works is that the first phase, Mum Bomb has 800 hit points. She normally has about 10,800, but then she has like a suicide message, which happens at 10,000 hit points. And then she'll heal. Is it a he? It might be a he, I'm not sure. But it turns into these 6 bombs. The red ones have 50 hit points, and the blue ones have 100. And without dancing daggers, this fight is just... it's absolute hell as well, because after a certain amount of turns the bombs will explode. And if you haven't done enough damage to the bombs, they will destroy your party. And you'll either die in the fight or die walking towards Fabul. So, but with dancing daggers and setting up your turn layout so that you can kill as many bombs as possible makes the fight really, really safe. So the current route uses, it lines up a kick so that when Mum Bomb explodes, the first thing you do is you've already got a kick lined up, and then you basically get 2 dancing daggers off. You can Rosa can even be useful in killing an enemy, and you'll only have 1 bomb attack in the whole fight. So it's that fight's become a lot safer in recent times. This walk's normally dreaded as well. After you come off the mountain, a lot of the enemy packs have either 4 or 6 enemies in them. So if you get surprise attacked a couple of times, then the walk can be very long. And
the encounters are also more frequent. Normally, in most areas, you get 8 encounters per 256 steps, but here you get 10 encounters per 256 steps.
Yeah, so I've already had like 4 coming off this mountain. You can almost still see the mountain. But with encounter manipulation, if you get it done right, you basically only have 2 encounters for your whole walk, and the walk is fun. Unless you get back attacked and then you kind of cry a little inside. Okay, safety saving before Fabul, because this place can be really trolly. You go in here and they have a little cutscene about how Baron and the King's airships are going to come and destroy the place. So we now have to kind of survive a little gauntlet of 6 encounters. And so if bad things happen in these encounters early on, then it just cascades and you end up dying. But you'll see me doing a lot of run buffering, which would you like to explain that again myself? Because I only explained it briefly last time.
Run buffer freezes a time in the battle, and by inputting a command, that command is not instantaneous. So freezing the battle timer will give you an advantage over the enemy's turn. So you get to throw a dancing dagger before the fighter. They can do a lot of damage to Edward, and if Edward dies early on, it's very hard to survive the later parts of this gauntlet.
Yeah, and you have to do so many inputs before the run buffer message disappears. If you're still in the menu when the run buffer message disappears, then you'll lose a little bit of ATB. And it's generally enough to cause enemies to attack you. Because, like, for example, in the guard fights, the guards generally have already gotten their attack queued. And so if any ATB passes at all, then you're guaranteed to get attacked by 2 fighters and lose a lot of hit points. These fights are going really well. I'm also going to dupe Yang's Claw here. There's like a little funky equipping sequence that I'll do, but it'll give me a bunch of empties in my left hand.
Duping Yang's Claw is for a glitch. It's gonna happen later. I'm not gonna spoil what happens with it, but it's also something I contributed to.
Oops. This gauntlet's going pretty well. Hey Panzer. What's up? So luckily we made it through the gauntlet. If Edward dies early on, like myself was saying, we generally die. In this fight's scripted, so the goal is to get Cecil weakened or dead. Normally Kane can kind of do enough damage, but if not, we just have ourselves attack. We just attack ourselves anyway. That normally does the trick. But otherwise you have to sit through another couple of text boxes, and then Kane will jump again, and then you'll get a perish message, and then you lose about, I think it's about 20 seconds if you get that message. Luckily we remove Cecil's shield at the start of the game, so that allows Kane to do a bit more damage, I'm pretty sure.
Helps a bit, but not too much.
Yeah, in very rare cases you can have Cecil actually kill himself. if he has enough hit points to then be reduced to 66 HP without being weakened, then Cecil can actually kill himself. And
I
that's
think
kind of funny.
66 is the most amount of damage Cecil can do to himself.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's only happened to Nier.
I've had it happen once. Probably not in any notable runs. He probably dies to this next boss coming up, because this boss is trolly. So now, in my inventory I have 254 Fire Claws, which will come in handy later on. I need 114 of them, so I'll be selling a couple of Fire Claw stacks in my Cydia coming up. So now the party's decided that they need to, I think, go see Cid in Baron. I think that's where the story takes us. So we have to get the king's permission to use a ship, and then said ship should navigate us properly to Baron, because the captain knows his bearings. Keep in mind, Baron I think is it northwest of Fabul? I'm pretty sure.
Southwest.
I mean, like in terms of how, like the quickest route I think's northwest. I thought it was. That might loop the map around there.
Yeah, it loops the map around. Southwest is a little bit faster.
Right. Oh, I take back what I was about to say then. I was gonna say that northwest is actually faster, so the captain was wrong, but I'm obviously wrong. I'm a bad speed gamer.
It's not by much, but if you look at the map, the way it was intended to be, without looping around the way it does north and south, Fabul is on the northeast part of the map, and Baron is near the middle.
Ciao, spunitad. Anyway, we're going to pretend for a moment that the captain is wrong and that northwest is faster, because I like this story better. Well, it turns out the captain is in league with monsters, and he wants to see the party secretly drown. So he takes us all the way up to sea where we can't see anything, and then bad things happen to the party. So the screen shakes, Cecil is confused. He says "what" a lot of times in this run. I think it's like 7 or 8, or something ridiculous. But the screen shakes. Even the captain appears surprised, although he secretly knows that this is Leviathan. And then everyone starts breakdancing. And then Rydia decides to jump off the boat, because that's what she does. She pretends to drown. Cecil then pushes Yang into the water, and Edward looks and goes, "I'm going to imitate Cain," so he turns around and jumps and breaks both of his legs. That's my version. Kind of half stolen from Nerum, so sorry Nerum for taking your spotlight. But now we've washed up miles away, and we've got a new area to explore. So I'm going to be doing a weird equipment route now. I've got to buy some things. So just bear with me. I need to buy 6 of things. I'm going to buy a lot of them.
Yeah, there are certain items that are used for a glitch later, and most of them can be bought here.
Yeah. So I'll buy 6 of everything, and then I need to sell 2 lots of 70 stacks of fire cores, and then buy everything else and switch to 80 in the meantime.
It's possible to do most of the shopping a little bit later in the next shopping section.
Yeah. But that's okay. We're gonna buy 240 ethers as well. Just because why not? This game's
That's for
about...
fixing the GP.
Nah, totally
which
not.
is...
You're
How's it
lying!
not?
It's because this game gets weird. And we need this many ethers to survive.
Alright.
It's totally not for fixing GP for the crazy glitch I'm gonna do later. What I'm about to do later on, it depends on so many different things, like where your hovercraft is parked, which way your yellow chocobo goes, which I won't be able to tell, by the way, myself. Are you able to keep an eye on it later on?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it.
Cool, thanks.
Also, another thing I want to say about this town, it's the first time in the run that the NPCs have a movement pattern that is unpredictable. That's because during the Leviathan's cutscene, shaking the screen changes how NPCs move. Normally when you reset, they always have the same movement. So in Kaipo, all the NPCs always move the same. But starting from this town, Mysidia, the NPCs are kind of random. And that also affects other things later that are either gonna cost time or potentially we need the yellow chocobo to leave at certain spots on screen, and it's all based on NPC movement. So if the screen doesn't shake during these cutscenes, then we would not have to worry about it.
Yeah, suffice it to say there's a bit of technical stuff that goes into this run, and a lot of it is based on the glitch that I do at the end of the game. So, essentially the way that people move in town affects the chocobos leaving the screen. Luckily there's a manipulation that can fix all that. Like I can save and reset outside of Chocobo Forest and then they'll move in exactly the same way every single time. So that's what I'll effectively be doing if bad things happen later on. In fact, I might just do that anyway because I know it's guaranteed. But so this cutscene now, we see the main villain for the second time, Golbez. He thinks he's bad, and so he sends a fiend after us, one of his 4 henchmen, called Mylon, or in the Japanese version I think it was Scarmiglione. I don't know if I've gotten the pronunciation right, but he's a fiend of Earth who doesn't actually use any Earth-based spells. It's kind of interesting. He likes to poison people though, which is rather annoying because poison animations take a very long time. So coming up is we meet Teller again. I don't know how he got here. He must have hacked the teleportation system from Baron to Mysidia and gotten in. But there's 2 boss fights coming up, and I'm going to be doing them in a weird way. Like normally in these fights you're supposed to be using Cure on the 4 zombies that you see, and then using Twin or Cecil's Black Sword to kill Mylon Z, kill Mylon, and then Mylon Z will, I guess, be reanimated, and then you're supposed to just throw a bunch of cures on Mylon Z to kill that boss. I'm not going to do any of that, unless I really have to, so we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if Porum's been hit, which is... If she has been hit, it makes this a lot easier to do, but we'll see what happens. But the second part of this can be horrible, so I'm just going to safety save. Oops, let's try menuing again. I've forgotten how to menu. So, for those that didn't see this during the No 64 door run, you're probably going to be thinking, what are you doing? So, we'll see what happens. Porum didn't die. Do you reckon I should reset and do this again?
It's up to you.
I'd love to show it
You
off.
can try one more time.
Yeah, I'll try one more time, because it is really cool. I'd rather try to show it off. If Porum doesn't die, I'll just kill Mylon the old-fashioned way. $108 again, okay. We're not going to worry about it. Alright, I was supposed to kill Palom and then do something funky, but it's not going to happen today, so I'll try to do it for Mylon Z. Okay, I need to heal Porum now. So normally I throw the carrot at Mylon Z, at Mylon. But that hasn't happened today, sadly. Porum's getting seriously whacked. Hi, Raptor. Alright. This next strat that I'll attempt to do, it's very dangerous, so if it starts failing, I'm gonna abandon the strat straight away, so see what happens. I've said that about 7 times in the last 5 minutes, but this strat's even gonna look weirder. I've got a really bad amount of hit points. Okay. What needs to happen is Mylon Z needs to kill Cecil. Yeah. I think my turns are... maybe they're out of order? Ugh. Okay, we're abandoning this. Sadly. He does not want to cooperate, so I'm just gonna heal up and then destroy Mylon Z. So sorry guys, I was gonna show you the Mimic glitch, which you can use to throw the trash can at Mylon Z. Ugh, 144, wow. Alright, so this will take another couple of minutes.
So should I explain
Sadly.
what we're trying to do?
You can, yeah, I'll concentrate on the fight.
Okay, there's a glitch in the game with Palom and Porom. If one of the twin ties just before starting a twin cast, it puts the twin that puts Palom in a mimic state where he will mimic any action by other characters. So, for
Wow.
example,
Sorry, I keep going.
so you can use that to target Mylon Z and then try to use an item, cancel, and swap the item with something else. So it will use the item in the same slot that you've tried to use. And you can use pretty much anything in the game, including trash can, which deals way too much damage for Mylon Z and one-shots. It basically one-shots Mylon Z.
Alright, Quiz. Alright, we did it! We killed him! So normally the Mimic glitch usually just... If it goes perfectly, this fight takes 40 seconds, not even. And Mylon takes about a minute 25-ish. So the ideal strat is so fast, but it's also really dangerous. So in a state like in a scene like this where in a marathon, I'm not gonna try repeatedly to do it, unfortunately. But in runs I just go for it all the time because A, it's really cool, and B, it's fast. But because like you can put Palom in a mimic state, which then the game remembers your last target and the last item or attack you used. So if you can confuse a game into using the slot that the carrot or trash can is now on, then you can then use those items. You can even use the Baron key or the sort item. The sort item does about 500 hit points. It's pretty funny.
In this fight, you're not supposed to attack, but since we have the dancing dagger and it deals a lot of damage, we can kill it instead of just waiting, because normally this fight is scripted so that you're basically learning that you don't always have to fight, and then Dark Knight Cecil dies by itself eventually. But here, we just throw dancing daggers because it's faster.
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, you're sitting through a 15-second cutscene.
Okay, chocobo time.
Do do do.
Are you using 9 or 12 items for the glitch?
9. So now Cecil's become a paladin, now he's level 1, so your average party level's decreased a lot, which effectively means that your chances of getting a back attack or surprise attack are now a lot higher. So from now onwards you usually see a lot more of those throughout the run. Sometimes these walks are really good and sometimes they're just horrible. In the wrong areas they waste a lot of time. Like for example in the waterway coming up, a lot of the encounters either have long attack animations or there's a lot of enemies in V formations. Like an encounter like this one for example, where you've got 4 enemies on the screen but 4 of them cast magic. The magic animations take a very long time. Sorry about these drop frames as well, guys. I went left.
It's very close.
Alright, then that means I'm catching another one.
Yeah.
It's either good or bad. Nice.
It's hard to tell because it's so close to... Like, pixels count for this.
Yeah, okay.
And it may be 1 pixel in or out
Alright, I'll
of the red
just
zone.
do the safe strat. So now the Elder welcomes Cecil. He did not believe that Cecil would get this far and turn Paladin. And then he reveals that Paladin and Porum were actually spies.
I like to call this the blue screen of death.
It's a pity you don't hear much more of that song, because that's actually a decent track. A lot of the songs on this album are really good, that you don't hear much of, like this theme, Rose's theme, and the moon, the themes on the moon are also really good. I'm gonna get trolled by white mages. No, I'm not. Cool. And now they finally open up the teleporter back to Baron, where we can find that the king has been acting very, very strange indeed. I'm not sure if our party's wanted men, but when we go up here we see some guards and Yang, and they certainly seem to think so. Correct?
What?
It's alright. It's our
No, I don't
ex-Prime
think it was.
Minister.
What?
So it's okay. See if I can fix it.
It's not you. I can still see you on the original stream. It's the restream, I believe.
Yep. I'll see if I can do something about the frame issue. My housemate said to prank call him if things go bad, so I'm going to be buying more weird things now. Oops. I'll just try to use the cure on the door.
Nice. Are you using cure on the well later?
Yeah. Cool. I almost used Cure 2 on the door as well, on the second door. So I've got lots of items at the moment. I'm gonna need all of them for later. My inventory is gonna be set up in a very, very strange way. So the waterway has, I touched on it earlier, but it has a lot of multiple enemy encounters. And guys like the crocodile and the... I'm not even sure what it is, but it uses wave. And those attack animations take a long time. The crocodile will attack 4 times if you get surprise attacked more often than not. So if you get back attacked by 2 of them, then they'll go twice, so you have to sit through 8 attacks. That encounter there, I'll sometimes just attack you, and they'll do 2 attacks, just like the Raven will do that as well. So I'm going to do some menuing in a sec, where I'm going to be casting a lot of MP using Teller, and I'll force the game to spend more MP than what I currently have. So you'll see him having like Boomerang 06 MP in a sec. I might actually just put that there. Items are all over the place. So I need to unequip Palom's change rod. Give that to Teller. Cool. So what I've done there is confuse the game into trying to give me a negative amount of MP, like just simply by spending more MP than what I have, but the game doesn't like negative numbers, so instead of it returning minus 30 hit points, it returns me about 65,000 MP rather. And so it allows us to cast spells that Teller doesn't have the MP for, i.e. Meteor, because that takes 99 magic points, whereas I normally only have 90.
And he doesn't get more than 90, because Meteor is supposed to be part of the story. But we like to use it anyway.
Yeah, you'll also see me kill off twins. This is because well, it's faster, but you also you get more experience per character, which also gives more experience to people that aren't in your party as well. So when they rejoin, they'll be at a higher level. Ice claws. Okay. Because otherwise, you have to sit through the twins getting levels as well. And it also, having more or less people in your party when you fight bosses changes your ATB pattern. So, in this fight, for example, coming up against Kainazo, if you have 4 party members off and you don't kill Kainazo with your lightning bolt, Kainazo will spam a couple more spells off until you get to actually kill him. $117, 328, so what's that? 445, so I need to do 35-55 on Kainazo. Sweet. So that's done. I'm also going to start moving items around. So I'll cure Ice Claw Staff down the bottom. Let's move my heals up. Lit 3 is just overpowered. Like, Kainazo is a bit of a joke boss because he's the first boss after Teller gets all these spells, and some of the spells are OP. And with the Change Rod as well, it becomes very, very powerful. To the point where you can one-shot Kainazo. If you don't have the Change Rod, then you've only got like Gaia Gear and I think you can get a Fire Rod as well.
Thunder Rod.
Thunder Rod. I think you can buy it. Oh no, they're Fire Staffs, aren't they? In my
No,
city.
you get in my city you get Fire Rod and Ice Rod, and in
Right.
Baron you can buy only Thunder
Just a
Rod.
Thunder Rod. Yeah.
And it's faster just to buy Thunder Rod.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if is there any use for a rod before this part, buying
Nah.
it and stuff. Okay, so Thunder Rod is the way to go because you have to buy equipment there anyway.
Yeah. It was previously thought that perhaps we could bypass getting the Tiara and the Change Rod in Mist. But it involves trying to get past Octomum with no gear, and that's horrible. And then secondly, Mylon and Mylon Z become really, really hard without extra wisdom boosting. I think Elmagus was trying to incorporate the Fire Rod into those strats. but they've never really eventuated. So we lose the twins, they've sacrificed themselves in a way so that we can continue, because Kainazo had his dying breaths. That map that you just saw, the one with the shaking, I believe it's you just get teleported around the map. It's like a map with four rooms in it of decreasing size. And so you just get teleported around the map instead of the rooms actually getting... one room getting smaller.
It's just an easier way of doing things.
Yeah.
Coming up is Troya. Have you looked into the frog manipulation?
Nah, I haven't had time. I'm just gonna save and reset before the Chocobo Forest. We finally get an airship, and so we can go around looking at other things, but there's not really much to do except for a few treasure chests here and there that have monsters and items that you may or may not want to use, but we don't really need any of that for this run. And certainly not at this point of the game. Like, we have enough attack power for the time being. But this cutscene, Kane asks us to get the crystal from Troya, because it's one of the last ones the king needs, or Golbez needs rather. And he'll trade it for Royce's life. Kane he's not a very nice person.
So can I explain the frog manipulation thing?
Sure.
So by looking at the movement of frogs, it's possible to predict where the black chocobo is going to be, because we need to catch it, and it moves just as fast as we do, and it's a little bit tricky to catch sometimes. It's a very new manipulation that I worked on last month, but I only released it this month, so not many people have done it in runs.
Yeah.
I think nobody used it in runs yet. I've seen Fred practice it, but that's about it.
You have to use an ether on Teller to give him restore his magic points, because once he's underflowed, he actually can't cast anything outside of battle. So we restore his MP and then we walk to the Chocobo Forest to then catch our flying Chocobo. But I catch this Chocobo the same way every single time. Luckily, when you save and reset, the NPC values will get reset. So you can just collect the Chocobo from there every single time. It's relatively painless. Sometimes you can spend tens of seconds trying to catch a Chocobo. There's people do have highlights of themselves trying to catch Chocobo sometimes, and yeah, they usually involve swearing. So in this cave, you can't have any metal equipped. If you have metal equipped, then you're paralyzed. And if you have 4 party members, then like who have metal equipped, then you die. And so every single person who's played this game would have likely died in this cave in the first encounter, just because you forget that you can't have metal equipped, or you're still working it out. So the only one that doesn't have that equipped at the moment is Sid, so as long as Sid's alive, we're okay. But luckily, your agility still is based off of your characters that are still... I mean, that they can still be paralysed and you're fine in terms of running away from encounters, so our agility is based off of Cecil for the time being, until he dies, and then it's Yang, and then I'm not sure who's faster out of Sid and Teller, but they're both really slow. Once we get to the Dark Elf Cave, we'll equip something metallic on Sid, namely the iron glove that we unequipped off of Cain at the start of the game. And then that'll at least end the first phase of Dark Elf really quickly. So, normally runners try to kill Dark Elf and it doesn't happen. Dark Elf just spams annoying spells and they just decimate your party. Even if you do kill Dark Elf, you get this cutscene because it's programmed to load after the battle's over. Hey Fred.
Hey Fred.
So Dark Elf has two forms. First one has 2100 hit points and then he turns into a form that doesn't actually have a boss flag, so he's weak to the spell weak. Kinda sounds weird. But all of his attacks are scripted. Like, he'll do this and then he'll use a whisper. Which will normally turn someone into a pig, but... oh, he casts weak and then whisper, sorry. So Yang, I need to kill off Yang in this fight. So he changes and then he's immune. His resistance to weak goes away. And what some people have forgotten to do is forget to grab the crystal after killing Dark Elf, which is needed to do the next stage of the game. That's happened before. Sometimes people forget to speak to Edward before leaving Troya as well. Or not even go to Troya in the first instance. Quit that.
Or even take the wrong door in Troya.
Yeah. Alright, I've got to catch my chocobos. So, the next two chocobos I catch will be... I know exactly where they're going to be.
And we need to catch another yellow because we're not sure if the last yellow chocobo was good. It needs to leave at certain places on the screen.
Yeah. I'm also going to do something weird with this chocobo. I'm just going to park it here. for no apparent reason.
Yeah, somehow it saves time.
Of course, getting all these encounters. Sometimes this old lady's a troll. Just hold up and hope, but with the way the black chocobos, like with the way you catch the chocobos there, the old lady, you can just push her out the way and she'll always walk left.
The thing about the black chocobo landing so far away from the castle, it needs to be... The X coordinate of that black chocobo needs to be 57.
Yeah. That's the most important part. The Y coordinate doesn't really matter, unless provided you're sufficiently far down the map and not too far down.
You can go pretty far down, you can cross the river and still be good.
Okay. I guess you've got 32 spaces to move.
It's less than 32, it's 20 something. Or maybe just 19. I don't remember. But there's no point crossing the river, so I never bothered checking.
So this Tower of Zot area is the last area where we really get encounters for the game. It's a pretty horrible area. Some of the encounters do a lot of damage to the point where if Cecil's got 700 hit points left and Teller is dead, you can die. So you have to be careful.
Here the enemies are very high level. The highest level you can go against is 33, and your party should be an average of 17, and that gives you just over 38% of back attacks for some encounters. The dolls and slimes are low level, so it's not as high. So here we're getting the fire sword from the chest, but it's protected by this flame dog, which dies in just one ice 2.
Yeah, it's pretty important I get this chest because it has a fire sword in it. I also underflowed Teller again. Because of Meteo.
Any glitches for this game? We've just done one.
There's
MP underflow. We've
heaps,
just
yeah.
underflowed MP, the Teller's MP, so now he has 65,000 MP, which allows us to use Meteo. And normally Teller is never supposed to use Meteo, but we're gonna use that because it's the most effective spell for the next boss fight.
Definitely. I'm not sure the exact number of glitches we do. I guess it's this, we do equipment underflow-ish glitches. We also combine that with selling lots of items to get lots of money. They're the kind of main ones that are visible for the time being. I'm gonna play this walk very safe.
Yeah, if you get unlucky with back attacks here, you can easily die.
Yeah. A runner named No Cash No Cash had, I think he had seven surprise attacks in a row in this area, and the 8th one was like an encounter like this where those swordsmen are guaranteed to attack. Like, you can have some really horrible walks through here. That wastes probably a couple of minutes. There's something else that I'm kind of doing that's a bit subtle. It's called plinking, which is found in like fighting games, but watch me go on a teller's menu. Like, I do it really fast. Like, you can, if you press down and hold Y, you can skip. What am I trying to say? You can actually. So I'm just trying to concentrate on the fight.
Yeah, I'll explain that.
Sure, thanks.
When you press Y, it also repeats whatever input you have pressed. So normally, when you press a button, it acts as pressing the button and then waits 24 frames before repeating that button. But if you press another button, let's say you hold down, then you press Y, the Y button will repeat the down button. So instead of releasing and pressing again, you can just press down, press Y, and it gets the input done a lot quicker.
My split's already turned red for Valveless. Nice. Plinking's used a lot in this game to like optimize menus. Things like selecting twin really quickly or entering a menu. I'll do it for Kane's jump against Valveless. His first jump, I hold down, then hold A, and then hold R, and that'll make him, like, his jump command, like, pretty much go instantly. How close to the 215 mark is this going to get? At the moment it's on 203 pace.
Yeah, we have time to show off some things after the run.
Yeah.
Not gonna spoil anything. We have something that we're gonna show.
Yeah, so this run will probably be about 206, 207, and then I've got a few minutes after that just to show off a couple of quick things. That'll only take a couple of minutes maximum. Japanese is playable. You can do exactly the same thing. However, the Japanese game has additional items, so it has different strats you can use. It also has more powerful bosses, and certain actions take longer. So they've kind of dumbed it down a lot for the US version. But the twin command isn't used at all in the Japanese version, simply because twin takes a very long time to cast in the Japanese version.
So here for this fight, we want Kane to be level 19 because he gains an agility multiplier. It gives him better ATB and synchronizes better with tornado form of Valveless. So by killing party members in certain boss fights, we give Kane more experience, because while the experience is split throughout the party members, those who have been in the party and are rejoining later are also gaining the same amount of experience.
This fight's very ATB finicky too. I'll just be concentrating during it if you wanted to explain how it goes myself.
Yeah, sure. I don't remember all of the precise timings. But the way it goes, Valveless will turn into a tornado, and during that form, you can barely do any damage to her. So you have to have Kane jump. I love that emote.
So here's his jump.
So jumping on her breaks her tornado, which makes her vulnerable to physical attacks and also magic attacks. During the tornado form, she will use Weak and Ray. Weak is not a problem as long as you have Cecil covering everybody, and as long as Cecil is not weak, you should not have any trouble in this fight.
Sid's doing really low damage. If you get good damage, you can generally kill Valveless before she turns Whirlwind for a third time, but it's not going to happen this time, unfortunately. Because Kane's damage hasn't been high enough, and Sid's not been very helpful. This Petrify that Cecil has is it's like a gradual Petrifier. Like
I have 4 phases to Petrify. 3 that will let you move, and the 4th one, the character will be considered dead.
Yeah.
But on the 3rd and 4th phase of that, it looks like Cecil is completely grey, but he's on the 3rd phase. And if you do this fight fast enough, you don't normally get completely petrified.
Yeah, the Valveless fight has also had a lot of work done to it. The level 19 Kane strats are... I don't remember how much faster they are over the level 18 strat, but it's like 40 seconds or something ridiculous if you beat Valveless before a 3rd tornado. And that pretty much is the time that it takes to get the Fire Sword in the first place. So you recover all of your time from just killing Valveless quickly. Later on, when we do the Dolls and Golbez, Kane's jumping on the Dolls and Golbez is ridiculous, so it saves you a lot of time as well. Alright, so now we've got everything to... We're not going to be coming back to the overworld. We have to go here to throw the magma key in the well, which then causes a big explosion. and this will give us access to the underworld where we follow our journey, because there's more crystals underneath which Golbez needs. I'm not sure if he's aware of where the crystals are, but I think he follows us. How this game's going to be beat in 20 minutes, you'll see. So we're in the underworld, and I think we're caught in some kind of battle between the Red Wings and the Dwarves, and we just get caught in the crossfire. So our airship goes down right next to Dwarven Castle, and we go and talk to the king for a bit. Before we do that though, I'm going to be walking up and down a bunch of stairs, so I'll mute my mic for the time being, and myself can, if he wants to, he can explain what's going on, but I won't say much about it.
There's not much to say about it.
Until the magic.
Until, yes. But what we do
Well, you can talk about Kalbrenner and Golbez if you like instead.
I can talk a bit about the stairs. What we do is,
4,
every time we enter a
5,
room,
6,
the game
7,
remembers where we've been,
8,
what rooms we've been in,
9,
and some rooms
10,
increase
11,
that counter,
12,
some of them decrease. Here,
13,
we're just increasing
14,
the counter until
15,
we overflow it.
16,
What's that's gonna
17,
do? I'm not
18,
spoiling it.
19, 20, 21, 2,
But fight coming up
23,
is Kalbrenner.
24,
You have 6 dolls,
25,
3 blue,
26,
3 red. The
27,
reds have 300 HP,
28,
and the blue have
29,
1000.
30, 31,
And you need to
32,
kill those dolls
33,
pretty much at the same time,
34,
otherwise they
5,
transform into a big doll,
36,
which loses time and
37,
also possibly lose the run.
38, 9, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44,
And by the way, no numbers in
45,
chat. Especially if
46,
you
47,
see someone run the game,
48, 49,
you may get a
50,
timeout if you
51,
put random numbers in chat
52,
because he's counting for
53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, alrighty. Yeah,
Yeah, you get timed out for random numbers because, especially if this is regular run, I think Roth is not reading chat too much, but if you say random
minimize chat.
numbers, yeah, if you say random numbers, it can throw the runner off. And we need to count to 63 exactly, otherwise the run is dead.
Thanks, Fred. This doll battle used to be horrible, absolute hell, and now it's okay-ish. With the fire sword, the dolls die a lot quicker. But before, yeah, we used to have to heal Cecil a lot.
And now Kane can one-shot the blue dolls, which have the most HP, 1000. Why 63? Because magical things happen when you do 64.
Did you talk about this fight in Golbez at all, myself?
I talked about this fight, but not Golbez.
Okay. So in this fight, we slow the dolls and we also mute ourselves. The game can only handle one status effect at a time. And that's important for Golbez, because the first thing he does is paralyze your party. Gang's got really bad hit points. There's my lives. Also going to cure Yang, just in case he gets hit for 154, because he's not in critical yet. This could be bad. I accidentally parried with Cecil. Could get red dolled here.
Normally the fight doesn't go this bad.
Come on. Yeah, we got through. Oops. This Golbez fight used to only be thought possible with Battle Speed 2 because you have to jump with Kane to be able to do the fight quickly, if at all. But luckily you can just hold down an A on this black screen and Kane will jump all the time. My fire claws.
So during this fight, there's gonna be a little bit of inventory management because we need items to be in a very specific spot. And we've bought all the items, now we just need to place them in the correct order. There's not much else to do during this fight, since we have to wait for Golbez to speak and things happen automatically. It's scripted mostly, but after a while you gain control again.
I lost about 5 minutes in the Mylon Z fight because I was trying to do the trash can glitch and the carrot glitch and they both failed, so I had to heal myself and then recover.
You had to heal me.
So now we find that Rydia is actually alright and alive, and that she was in the land of monsters learning about stuff, and time passed a lot faster down there. So she's aged. She's aged a lot, and now she's lost the ability to cast white magic, but she can now summon creatures to help her, and also cast black magic.
And the most important spell is Warp, because we can go back into the crystal room and get the Dark Crystal. Even though it was taken by Gold Bass, it's still there.
It's still there, so we collect it because getting a Dark Crystal allows us to skip the sealed cave, which doesn't really have a purpose. Well, it does have a purpose for us because we can... Oh, yes, the glitch. So just marvel at this for a bit because this is really cool.
Whoa, what happened?
So, we're at the sealed cave. After all that, I'm not going to explain what's going on for a while.
Can I explain it?
Yeah, go for it.
So we've set up different things in the game. Parking the black chocobo lets us land in the room where we see the black and white mages. We walk on those tiles, which have been set by changing the inventory to warp at different places. So based on what items you put there, you teleport wherever you want. So we warp to the rooms we need to. There are 4 rooms that we need to land on. 3 of them are done by items. One of them is done by RGB, the color of the window. You've seen that it changed to a darker color. And also battle speed is 6.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm going through negative numbered rooms effectively, which are triggered by RAM values. And the 44th room that I go through is dependent on my window settings, so they currently changed to map 96, which is Fusaya's palace. So to get him in our party, we need to get rid of one of our party members. And you can do that by getting rid of either Kane or Yang. Getting rid of Kane's faster, so we just go to the sealed cave and drop him off. And then Fusaya becomes important.
Also, this glitch used to be very unsafe, and a lot of runs would die, until I found a new glitch that allows using items to warp to different places, and the run became so consistent. It went from about 7% to over 50%, and it also saved time, which was my first change to the run about a year ago.
So all these rooms depend on different things, like where our chocobos are parked and which direction they left and where my hovercraft's parked. The next few rooms up in this glitch actually depend on your in-game timer and the amount of GP that you have. So, because it's so unsafe, I'm actually going to be going somewhere else first. Just so I can save in this glitch. I also need to change all these spells around, because the later rooms in this glitch actually depend on a spell arrangement. So we'll go through all this again, and I'll be able to save. I'll also show you a really cool room that's probably my favourite out of all these rooms.
Do I task to find these glitches? I don't make TAS, but I'm more focused on improving the RTA strats. So anything that is relevant to RTA, for example, step route, is not really a thing for TAS because you just reset constantly on different seeds. And
yeah, so pretty much Tenoshi. Sorry.
My focus is on RTA strat. For example, one thing I'm working on this week is back attack manipulation. TAS doesn't need that because you can just redo the frames until you hit the correct buttons to avoid getting a back attack. But doing this in real time takes a lot of research.
Cool, I've made it. So that room has Zero Miss music, and that's the best room in the game by far. It also, that specific point has a save point on it, and you can also buy items. The following 2 rooms afterwards depend on your, well, the following 3 depend on your, the amount of time you spend on your 4 save files, your in-game timer, and then your GP. And all these rooms I'm going through now depend on the arrangement of Fusoya's spells. But we get to this room, go down, and then check what Fusoya's got, and he's got this spell called Upsco. So we put that at the top and exit out. And once we're back at this cool looking room, we go on the same spot and we're at Zero Miss. So we're at the end of the game.
I want to answer a question from chat.
Sure.
Do I test with TS for RTA? Like repeat sections? Not so much. What I do is I look at what's possible in the game and try to see if there's a way to exploit something. For example, using items to teleport around. It was known that walking on event triggers in glitch rooms would put you at random places. So I looked at the code for how the game determines where it sends you. And in the code, I could see that it overflows the list of where it's supposed to send you. And it eventually reads the inventory. So what we do is I put some items in the inventory to trick the game into thinking, this is where this event trigger goes. So I've been reading code on the game. Also, I'm also testing things in real time to see if it's viable for RTA. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just executing it, it's also finding a consistent way of doing something.
So normally in my chat when I play this, I like to do a meteor game where you guess Sid's meteor damage using Price is Right strats. So closest to without going over his damage, it's between 1600 and 2100 usually. So it's a pretty fun thing. You might notice that we've got Kane back and we've got Edge in our party, but he doesn't actually appear there. But Sid being replaced by Fusoya is pretty funny. And also watching him cast meteor is really cool as well. So 1610, wow, that's such a low damage roll.
How do I have code for this game? There are tools you can download. I made my own tools for finding the code in the game. There's something called a disassembler, which lets you see the code of any executable, and it's a bit rough to read, but once you spend enough time, you figure out, oh, okay, this is doing that, and it works this way. So the code that the processor reads can be read still. It's just not in the form that has been coded with.
How do I maintain sanity? I guess the answer to that is I'm insane. I guess every speedrunner's got a bit of a insanity streak to them, but I just love playing the game. Like the story is cool, but what you do is just as interesting. Like all the glitches that you do, and the idea of improving your time is extremely addictive. But if you couple that with enjoying the game to bits, you'll be able to speedrun this time and time again. And I haven't stopped loving this game since I started playing it. back and fight again, sure. So this glitch is a 64 door glitch, and it's insane. You use ram values to basically corrupt spells, warp around the area. All we've got left is to kill Zeramus, and with our party, that's virtually impossible by normal means. Like, the only one that's going to survive a Big Bang is Fusayar, and then he's probably not fast enough to get another turn in before the second Big Bang. It does, yeah. You have to love it. So you'll see Yang here healing himself. He likes to do that. It's the energy. And you'll see Fusayar healing himself too. So the only thing we've got left to do is try this spell that we corrupted. I think Fusayar has 2 wall spells as well, through corrupting his spell list. You do that by trying to walk in the reverse direction through the glitch. But yeah, we just cast Upco, wait for a bit,
And then RPG dead.
and Fusayar dies. And so does Zeramus, so GG, that's the end of the game, and we still have this awesome music. You can also use the crystal first and then use Upco and Zeramus and have like the boss music throughout this cutscene. But Upco is a really interesting spell. It's a spell called Reaction that's used by some of the enemies on the moon, I think. I think they're grenades, and when you cast, I think, lightning on them, they respond by using Reaction and then start sacrificing themselves to kill your party. So what we can do in the Zeramus fight, you can't do any damage to Zeramus. He just shakes. You can't cast spells or anything. Any status effects you put on yourself get erased every time he shakes. But the one thing you can do to Zeramus is flag him as dead. So you cast Upco on him. Fusayar gets killed. Zeramus dies. The battle ends. Thanks, guys. My PB is 157.08. So I was about 9 minutes behind. So apart from the Mylon, the Mylon and Mylon Z fights lost me about 4 minutes. Having to save in the glitch cost me about 2, so this run was about on pace for a 2-hour run. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. But before we go, I'm actually going to show you some new developments that we've made in FF4 lately while this music's playing. So I've actually got here a SNES 9X, and on here I've put Cecil in this save room here. I've got other save files, but normally
I don't see it. Oh wait, I see it.
You see it now? Cool. So normally when you so what I've done here is I've killed Golbez, gone through and just casted Warp. I just casted Warp with Radio. I haven't changed any of my settings. The only thing I've done differently is I've changed the map that I'm going to finish in. This number with the ice claws actually says 151, so I land in a different room through the glitch. So you kind of continue through here a little bit. Yeah, definitely, here's a dish we prepared earlier. So you go through the glitch and you end up in a room that looks like this. It's got a falling sound to it. So what I'll do is when you're in rooms like this, you have NPCs which appear in random spots, and so normally like spots will have item shops and stuff, so you can buy stuff. Some spots will have empty text boxes, but what we've found recently is that if you put items in specific spots, such as if you start them from, say, here, you can confuse a game into writing what code you want. So you can probably see where this is leading towards. Like if I press A here, I've actually programmed the game to say "Go." So that's one thing you can do. So what I thought I'd do is actually, instead of having that, I've actually got a list of like heaps and heaps of items. So I actually wanted to use this time to write this code just to say a massive thanks to Feasel and everyone who's been putting in their hard yards to create this marathon, because it's been a lot of time in the making and they deserve to be thanked. So anyone who's been part of organising this, and also Feasel, thanks for doing this, guys. It's very hugely appreciated from many of the speedrunners and viewers. So that's what you can do with this. Before I go further with that, you can also use this weird looking run to trigger things. So I'll just turn down my my Amarak for a second, turn on SNES 9X. So you can choose your items and then create new things. So this is a damn cyan cutscene with black mages instead, and it changes the sprites to have this explosion coloured thing. So now these white mages are now a lot cooler than what they used to be. So there's that. The last thing you can do is you can use a different item to trigger the end game cutscene. Instead, Zemus is now a Land of Monsters theme. So you can cause this, and these guys get caught in a bit of a loop. They'll start doing things. You can go through and it's basically them just killing each other, and sometimes Zemus will cast thunder. So eventually Zemus dies, and that's cool. Then you go through this, you're still in this land, and then end up in a weird spot, and then you just get Sid and Golbez just continually casting Meteor. Nothing happens. You'll see a dummy spell every now and again, which I don't know what it does. It's pretty fantastic. So going back to this text box thing, the text boxes that appear only have like a limitation of a certain amount of characters in them, and if you write something large enough, you can then create your own code, essentially. So if I press A here now, I can trigger the endgame credits just by using my inventory. So this is called arbitrary code execution, and it currently saves about 9 minutes off of the run, which is pretty damn awesome. Unfortunately, this cuts out at the end on the very end screen. It just stops moving, and there's no music in here. So I think if you're going to use this code execution, you're probably just better off skipping to the endgame credits. Like, you can skip to earlier points, but some of it does involve using more items, and this is the only one that we know of at the moment. So who found this? My commentator, myself086, he did a lot of work into researching arbitrary code execution, and so full credit goes to him for finding this, because it's been a lot of work by him, and it's now a category which we run, and hopefully it can be pushed down to sub 149 would be the ideal goal at the moment.
Yeah, this saves about 9 minutes, I would say. 8 or 9.
Yeah. Normally you get to the end screen and then it freezes. Like I haven't paused it, the game's just frozen.
I've known this to be possible since last year, for almost a year now, but I didn't know how to set it up properly until on the last day of February last month. I spent some time trying to figure out how the NPC choose their text to be shown, and one of them points to the 10th row of the inventory, so you can write text there as seen. There are different texts that Roth has made.
Yeah.
And by abusing the text box, it was eventually possible to do arbitrary code execution and just skip to the credits.
I'm glad we like something's been discovered in FF4 to be able to show up to you guys for this as well. Like this arbitrary code execution stuff is so new that it's been pretty cool showing it off.
14 days old.
14 days. Yeah. I think that's pretty much it from us in terms of the run. Like, there's probably nothing else that needs to be said. So I'll see if the hosts would like to say anything. But thanks for doing commentary, myself, 086. You're pretty awesome.
No problem.
Thanks, Rev. I attempted